Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Beard in a Lockdown. Thank you for dropping by. This is episode number 4, and in it I give my time to interviewing Mr. Tom Brown, steampunk and hopeless Maine fame, and of course a fabulous mustachio. So over to you.
So hello viewer, I'm really pleased to be here with Tom Brown, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the steampunk scene, hopeless Maine, which is awesome, and of course, as you can see, his rather splendid facial hair, and in particular his mustachio. So Tom, welcome.
Welcome. Hello.
I hope the lockdown is treating you well enough.
Well, it's not that much different from my normal life, really, except on weekends a bit.
Okay. Tom, you and your partner are quite involved in the steampunk scene. Can you tell our viewer what that's all about?
Right. Okay. Well, short answer, it's a bit like Druidry in that if you ask all of the steampunks in the world, you won't get 2 matching answers. It's a subculture that sort of coalesced around Victorian science fiction aesthetics.
Yeah.
But in reality, steampunk is whatever steampunks decide that it is at that moment. And if they like something, it becomes steampunk. It's a wildly creative bunch, and it's got a fantastic music scene.
And what does it look like? Can you describe it a bit for us?
What does it look like? If you see someone with a hat with goggles on, you've probably got yourself a steampunk. Yeah, the gentlemen tend to do the styled facial hair and so on. The corsets, there tend to be rather a lot of corsets on both the gentlemen and the ladies, one never knows. Yeah, it's just sort of, we raid charity shops really successfully. And there's a lot of people who make steampunk clothing. It's, sort of their job to actually make clothing for other steampunks.
It does appear to have become an industry in itself.
Yeah.
Now, you are perhaps particularly well known for your work on the Hopeless Maine series. Could you, which I really adore, could you talk our viewer through what that is and how it's evolved?
Right. Okay. Well, as you say, it is or started out as a graphic novel series. Actually, before we found our publisher, we got impatient and we started putting up, and you were involved in this, I remember. We started putting up a sort of a virtual newspaper for the island called the Hopeless Vendetta. And then people started playing it in the setting. And that became really important later on. So then it became a series of graphic novels. And then it exploded. So now it's graphic novels and music and a role-playing game and performance, and there's a film in the works, and stuffed animals. No lunch boxes yet. Looking at you all, lunch boxes.
I would love a lunchbox.
Yeah.
I got the lapel pins.
Glows in the dark.
They are so, and there's some people who are like, and others are, what's that about? But you mentioned the film. That is particularly exciting. What's that about?
Right. Well, we're just getting it off the ground. It was sort of moving along, and then the virus happened, and that's, of course, you're going to be surprised about this, but it's affected the entertainment industry.
Oh, I'm not sure I'd noticed. The telly's still on.
Yeah. Okay. So that's sort of thrown a wrench in things for the moment, but there's still a lot that we need to do before we can all get together and start filming. But it's going to be a black and white silent film done on an actual period, hand-wound camera, 16mm real film.
It's going to be so awesome.
And we've got such an absolute bloody genius, Greg McNeil, who does glass plate and tin type photography for a living.
Wow.
Knows everything about everything regarding film and retro film in particular.
Great.
Yeah, cinematographer.
Well, I hope to keep following the progress on that, the little leaks that you give on what's occurring. Tom, you're here because of your majestic mustachio and facial hair. I'm hoping to use the lockdown to grow mine out.
Yeah.
I've endeavoured in the past to grow a moustache through, but partly I suffer from the growth into here,
Yeah.
and it won't really stay when I brush it. And I've never really got on with wax. Have you any advice for a budding tash grower?
Yes. Well, there may be products that don't involve wax. Mark Rocher seems to be doing something with his because it has that lovely curl and so on.
That's a very good point. Our good friend Mark, known as Bish,
Yeah.
has a fine mustachio.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll approach him.
Yeah. But as you know, I became part of the steampunk scene, and you know, it had to happen. So I started growing it out, and the danger is, of course, that you're going to eat your mustache. You're going to eat your mustache. I'm sorry. In the beginning, this sacrifices must be made. And even once you've grown it, you've got to wax or whatever substance you use to do this every day.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can't have a jam donut.
Okay.
Because it will be here and here and a bit on your shirt, and you don't want that. That's not splendid.
So there's no avoiding the in the mouth stuff.
Well, the wax is the avoiding the in the mouth stuff.
How do I use wax? Or do I?
It's not just wax. It's you can buy products, and there are tons of products out there now, mustache wax. But we make our own, and because we're from Stroud, we use locally sourced beeswax,
Aye.
Yeah. And a bit of non-petroleum jelly, and then you just melt the wax, mix it up, put it in a thing. Bob's your uncle.
And so how much do we use? Do we just brush the fingers with it, or is it lumps?
About a lentil per side.
That's such a Tom Brown description of size.
About a lentil per side. And don't, for God's sake, don't twist.
Okay.
Because if you twist, what's going to happen is it will look fine while you're there in front of the mirror, and then you'll go out confident in public, and it will go spung, and you'll have two pink brushes on the side of your face, and you'll be
Not the look.
and no one will talk to you ever again. So don't do that. Don't. It's not worth it.
Locally sourced beeswax.
Yeah.
Non-petroleum jelly.
Yeah.
Where do I get that from?
I don't know. It's from our loo. It's in our loo.
Okay. So down to Tom's ass.
Yeah.
Down in Stroud.
Yeah.
It's your own fault. When this happens, it's your own fault.
It was just there.
Mix it up and then brush it through.
Yeah, just take a bit and then get it into the mustache. And then what you do is you pinch. It's like curling hair. You pinch and you pull. And then it just does it by itself.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
We will try.
And, when you're starting out, you can trim just this little bit in the middle. So, when you wake up in the morning, you have your coffee, you're not straining it through facial hair.
Tom, that's very useful, potentially, in its own strange way. Thank you very much for your advice and letting us have a look at your awesome mustachio. And I hope the lockdown treats you well. And I look forward to hearing more about the latest Hopeless Maine project.
Thank you, sir.